Hey everybody, welcome back to Trading Think Script. My name is Mike Fairborn. It's great to have you back. Last week we did look at a few different scans to find momentum. Today we want to tap in to an already existing indicator, the zigzag indicator, using what is behind it in terms of what we'd see on the chart and tying that into the scan. It seemed to be a lot easier than it actually was, but it seems like we did get there. And so looking forward to going through that with you today, looking at some of those bigger reversal potentials in the market, folks. Well, we may have key earnings reversals or key reversals off a bottom or a continuation maybe of a longer term pullback, but then a flip in the trend back to the upside based upon whatever percentage we want to look at and over a certain time frame. So a lot of cool stuff to address with you today. I look forward to it very much. How is it going out there? Life in the fast lane? Always. Yes. All right. Great to have you, as well as Will. How did you, Will? He's got some sunshine there. I'll tell you what, we got dumped on last couple of days with some snow. First time all year, actually, down here in the valley of the Salt Lake Valley, northern Utah. But yeah, it did actually finally come. So I think it hit the eastern half of the United States clearly this year. But great to have you here, guys, as well as Rocky and Eric joining in the chat. My good friend and colleague of mine, Kevin Horner. Be sure and follow Kevin on X. He posts some great stuff there, not to mention the content he posts every morning within the Trader Talks, his presentations there. So encourage you to do that. My handle is simply just Mike Fairborn, CS. All right, well, what do you say? Should we jump on into it? Let's get it rolling. Welcome all, those of you just joining us. So let's dive into some disclosures. Get it going here. Information here is for general information purposes only and should not be considered an individualized recommendation or personalized investment advice. Paper Money software application, we'll be using that for sure. That application is provided for education purposes only. Backtesting results presented are hypothetical. There's no guarantee that the same strategy implemented today would produce similar results going forward. Past performance of any security strategy does not guarantee future results or success. A good quick look at some futures down there. We do tap into those charts from time to time, although we do not trade futures here. That's just a reference, so we can look at those charts. All right, let's get going. Yes, absolutely. That zigzag indicator, looking forward to it. We are going to talk about it, and real quick, we're just looking at the markets here because within this class too, we do trade Think Script. It's part of the title. And so I did want to look at also, some of the TTM squeeze setups that have been already breaking out today. I want to look at that towards the end of our discussion as the S&P 500, folks. As you'll notice, and if you've been to any of my prior classes, you'll see here TTM squeeze right there. You'll notice that we are in an unusually tight range here. And what does that mean, folks? Well, what it can mean, what it means to a lot of traders, you can see it right down here in the red. We flipped over into red for in fact, how many bars is it now? Wow, we're still going strong. 14 bars, or I guess 19 calendar days, whatever way you want to look at it. But it's in a tight range. Even though we're close to some highs over here, it's going to be really, really interesting to see what we get up top. If we can break above the 7K level, the 6,800 down below, could we get a break below there? If it's above 7,000, then folks, that's an extension of the trend, right? Higher highs and higher lows. Been flat all the way since post Halloween of last year, if you could believe it. We've been flat. Okay. One key thing to keep an eye on there. Some of the economic numbers have been improving, but a lot of eyes are on this right now. So just keep this in mind, because remember, we're looking at the market here. Just want to give you guys a little bit of a highlight real quick, what some traders might be looking for. Jobs, the job numbers, what do those look like? They have been improving. We've seen some improving numbers here. If that continues to spike and do well, and prices do begin to break, well, then it might spell a move to the upside. We don't know, and we don't know what we're going to get in terms of the sort of the geopolitical environment as it relates to maybe different areas of hostility around the world as well. So we don't know how that's going to play out, but keep a watch on this. We've definitely had some classes on the TTM squeeze, folks. The Bollinger Band slipping below the Keltner channel, right? An unusually low period. You just don't get these too often, and when you do, that condensed move can mean a breakout sometimes. Well, we want to look at some stocks on that as well. But before we get into that, I'm going to clear these guys off right now, and we are going to dive into another interesting indicator. Well, that you guys may have seen before. This is the zigzag, and I want to talk about it initially first. There's quite a few of them here. The one that I've seen the most that might be um, most or best position for traders or investors is the zigzag percent. It does have 8 listed there. That means 8% in terms of a reversal amount. Okay, so what we're looking at here is a reversal in the trend, and when you paint this out, it does look quite interesting. In fact, I'll just make these widths just a little bit bigger here. It's a great tool, and I've often wanted to. That's at 8, so it's a little bit of I mean, it's just been a big rally. We just hadn't had a pullback since then. Basically it caught this bottom over here. In fact, I'll change it just to highlight what it's showing us. But there you go. You say, how on earth does it do so well about finding some of these low levels and these high levels? What's going on? How was it able to do it? Well, I'm going to show you this first, and then I'll break that down in a little bit more detail before we dive on into this. But quick note, if we just change this to, let's just say like 4, we'll cut it in half. We'll say 4%. So it's measuring percentage moves, you guys. Now, we have a lot more zigzags now, right? Coming down through here, you could see like even in this range over here, we were getting at least 4% moves off the top or off the bottom. Here's a zigzag right here that actually reversed again. But from that point in time, you can see some of these key reversals that can occur off the bottom. Okay, now what can happen with larger reversals, particularly at the 8% range? There are a few like technical historians and writers that talk about this too. And 8% is a number it's kind of fascinating because I've seen it a lot out there in terms of reversals specifically, but you might see it around a change of earnings. That could be a huge one, right? And and when with earnings, I mean, you're also getting these longer term type reversal setups with the trend. Over here, it was a big pullback, but you'll notice this big pullback occurred, and it did give kind of a zig or a zag, whichever way we want to look at it. But then we did begin to jump back up again. And what this indicator is actually doing is it's measuring that 8% off of, in this case, it's a 4. I'll flip it back to 8 here in just a second. But it's measuring that 8%, folks, off of a major, what could be a major pivot low. When it's saying with that much force coming off the bottom, you see it with earnings, you see it with also strong fundamental trends within a sector. Sometimes a group of companies will just start pounding and hitting above those levels. You can get a reversal. Well, today we're going to scan through both not only for uptrends, but for downtrends as well. Just taking what this code is right here, flipping it into a scan and being able to adjust it. Now, one thing I did add to the scan too, I put it up here. This is the Charles Schwab, code for the zigzag that's built in. And we're using a built-in indicator to help us, but we want to be able to scan so we know as soon as something's flipping off the bottom, off the top, off the bottom, whatever it is. It's the timeliness that matters, right? To traders and investors. I mean, we can look at a chart and say, gosh, that's cool. But it's even more cool when you can see it kind of reversing off the bottom. And you're kind of getting a signal down here that's actually a true zigzag as it relates to this indicator. That's what we intend to do. But I do have a look back period if you want, of whatever you want to adjust to. I did put 3 days in here. The reason is you can get moves just like this coming on a chart. Let's go back to our daily here. MKC. You see this reversal off the bottom? Now the trigger actually would have occurred in terms of the scan like right there. Okay, but why it's interesting and why it can be helpful post 8% off the bottom, because it's measuring right off that pivot low, the low, 8%, and then it's going to say, okay, that's when this flips into a zig, or I guess you could say a zag, whatever it is, to the upside is what it would happen. It probably a zig. And so That's what we're looking for. And that's, by the way, when this green line flips, is when you hit whatever percent you designate it to be. That's when it flips colors, but that's also when the scan says it's there. I built into the scan, it could be a 3-day, it could be a 5-day post it happening. And why is that important? Because of this right here. You can find these material type breakouts that happen post earnings. Now, this was an earnings event that wasn't great, but it was what was projected, which is oftentimes the case with these companies. It's not what you just did for me, but it's what you can do for me going forward. And this was a quick reversal above there. If you throw some lines in here too, you'll find that, yeah, I mean, it meets an interesting level here too that many traders look at. That's the 200-day moving average. And you'll see that a lot off of big reversals. Did I not save it? Oh, I just did. Okay, I'm sorry. There we go. Here it is. We'll put the line in here so you can see it. In fact, I'll just change it real quick. But we're diving into it because these are other tradable events that you might see with these reversals. There it is. There's your 200-day. Notice 200-day seems to be adjoining right there, those prior highs with a break above highs, right? And possible support there as well. Folks, this came in like right there. You're 8% off the bottom roughly, or something in this range, and you're already taking out some of these lower lows too. So that's what we're diving into, and that's kind of the potential of what a zigzag can do. But the scan takes it to a whole new level because it becomes timely for us. So let's pull it up right now and hit some of those. I'll share the scan here for you guys as well. Let me make sure I'm in the right scan. And let's see, I have it. They look the same. It's going up, yes. Okay, good. So, and by the way, I did save it over here too. Oh, sorry. Let's do this real quick. I'll share it for you guys as well. And remember, Think scripts, they're not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, but this is referred to, I just called it zigzag scan uptrends specifically. So it takes that indicator, puts it into a scan here for us. I'm going to throw it into the chat, get you guys started early. Hello to you, Janelle, and others joining us. Riceberg, great to have you all on board here. There is your scan right there. Think script scan. So plug that in, folks. If you're not familiar with that, go up top into setup, open shared item, and post that in there. And then generally just name it what it is. That way it's a lot easier to find. Import it, and then you can come up top here in that middle hamburger icon and then just load it up. Okay, let's scan it right now. I should have hit, there it is. So we get 25 companies, and let's pull it up right now so you can actually see it in detail. Here is that scan. And all I've done is I've taken basically the code of the scan itself, the indicator, I should say. And, you know, I tried this a few weeks ago and I couldn't get it to work. I don't know what I was doing, but I did put in that reversal amount. So you can change it to whatever you want. I'm going to keep kind of that historical number that a lot of technicians have historically used for different price patterns. There are a few technicians out there that do look for 8% on a reversal. This just gets it off that pivot low. There's your look back bars, folks. It could have happened anywhere within that time frame, 1 to whatever you want. On that MKC stock, you know, a 5-day or even a 3, you could still watch it and see if it takes out a recent high or whatever the case might be. But if you scan it, there it is. I've scanned it, as you can see right here, within the S&P 500. Great place to start, perhaps. It's a wide range of companies, and you can see a number of these. Yeah. Over that time frame, they've had a reversal, all right. 8% plus off that bottom. It's different though. What's unique about this is when you see these, you say, Mike, well, couldn't I just take the S&P 500 and couldn't I just take a column like this into our weekly here and just scan it and just look for the entire S&P 500? This is the Dow Jones, and just look for the 8% number or higher. You could, folks, but it's missing one super key element of the zigzag, and that is the potential for the pivot. What does the pivot mean, and why is the pivot so important? Pivot, folks, another term for it, it's the reversal off the bottom. You can have percentages at any time. It's the reversal that we want, and that potential for a stronger trend resuming. I mean, we're starting off with an 8% move, right? Oftentimes that's enough to give us a breakthrough prior lows, really reinforcing perhaps the strength of the trend to the upside. That's what's different with this relative to just a column. I wanted to confirm that, but you can throw these columns out here regardless, right? This is what we're getting here. I want to take a look at a few of these right now with you and just kind of highlight. Now, we could say which ones are flipping 8% today from that pivot low. I could change that super easy too. Just go over here in the script once you've got it and just flip that to a 1. And that means today. We're going to get a lot less companies if we did that. Okay. There are some that are flipping today though. Like for example, as I went through here, you've got like this OMC, I think, is flipping. Once I've saved it, let me just do this instead. We'll go over here. Guys, you can pull this up into a zigzag scan because you have it here, right? Once you save a scan, it's now an active watch list for you, right? And you can come down here into your personal folders and you can see it. It's got that little sort of circle there. It's a circle. And then you could click on it. And I've done that. It's not working. Now, I haven't had this ever not work for me before. So what I had to do is I just had to save it as a scan, which I did do. Because you can come over here too and just save the list as a watch list. Because notice I'm not getting a doggone thing right there. Nothing. Normally it takes a second to load up. I'm not getting anything. So I wanted to show you, it's probably going to work on yours. I'm using a demo account. Maybe that's the reason, but I saved it anyways. And those are my companies. A good quick way now to take a look at this is just go over here into my charts right there. And what I want to do now is take this and just click on it. And I'm going to show you like that OMC. See the reversal? What are we getting there? Couple of different interesting items. I'm just going to kind of hit a few of these to show you what that could mean in terms of the rally. Did it get an earnings reversal? In this case, it did. And by the way, I did run this as a 1-day scan, just a 1-day. This popped up with 2 others that look very, very similar to it. But this actually is a mini gap and gap. That's a mini island, what they refer to as an island reversal with a good positive follow through. Now look at this 200-day moving average. Did we clear it today? We did. Key point, pivot 8% zigzag off the bottom. The beauty of this is, since we've got that zigzag already built in place, throw it on the charts so you can confirm it and look at it. There we go, zigzag percent. You guys will have it right there. Remember, it's set at the 8, just like our scan is. Boom, right there. Okay, so that is our number right there. And you can't see it too well. See, it's all red. But just to confirm the scan, do you see it right there? It's turning green. Where did it turn green at? Approximately 77 or 8+% off the bottom. It's definitely 8+% now because we're clearly above that 77. Okay, so gap up. And when you get these gaps, it can be a reversal of the trend. The 200-day moving average in my mind's coming down, which tells me there were a lot higher levels over here. This could be, we're lucky to trade it, a long-term double bottom, perhaps. Kind of a lot of bottoms right through there, but at least over here and here. What would be the next key point you might be looking for? Possibly right there, maybe an 82. Get above it, hold. Because, I mean, you're this close to resistance. Be mindful. But what a sort of a fascinating watch list type stock based on reversal potential. Okay. By the way, I'm going to change this because it's tough to see. You got to trust me, it's turning green, but actually don't trust me. Here, I'll flip the color and then you'll see it actually show up even better here. So I'm going to go over here into my zigzag plot. Let me show you over here. I'm going to just say my uptrend. I'm going to make it blue and we're going to make it a lot thicker. And now you're going to see it show up better. There it is. You see the blue? And by the way, you can probably see the blue right here too. When did we exceed 8%? Folks, right there and right there. Now you can scan for it. Very, very timely. Let's hit some others as well while we're at it here. What about Chipotle? Right? Am I saying that right? Chipotle? Actually, I think most people say Chipotle. Yeah. One of my friends called it Chipotle. We were kind of joking about it, but I believe it is Chipotle. And what do you see here? What did it potentially spot here? This was a longer term reversal right here, and it nailed it right there. It said that's 8%, and that 8%, folks, it took out that line right there. We broke it. Prior highs. Folks, that is a higher high. That's what I was always fascinated about with this and what was going on behind it. What was the coding behind the zigzag, and that's it. Now, it dipped, but we just got it again. Possible reversal off the bottom. Now, if you were looking at chart patterns, I just highlighted a massive chart change here that this ThinkScript scan might have hit for us. Shoulder, head, shoulder, question mark. I know it's not the prettiest head and shoulders bottom you've seen, but I don't care if it's pretty or not. I'm looking for a rally right there. Could we potentially get above that? Because if we do, this has totally different ramifications for an upside move. Totally different, right? This right here, in terms of measurement, I'm going to measure it this way, like a sort of inverted head and shoulders pattern. You take that off of a break. If it did break above that neckline, okay, and that's what we're talking about. A larger term potential reversal. So something like even, I mean, I know this is coming off the bottom here, but how many little mini flags were in here? Well, I'll count one. That's really small. I'm not going to count it. But two, and look at these flags. Look at that. They just connect. I'm just connecting dots there. All about equal. Here is your next one coming up. Right now, what you could do is you could wait, like I just mentioned, because you are getting some initial indications right there. Popped up on our list. It made that very small list. But what about the trend line break if we're looking at larger type patterns, which we do want to look at in this class because a lot of these ThinkScripts can kind of narrow us down into finding something that might have additional indications for strength. All right, so there's another one for you. Let's keep going. We're going to hit some downsides too. I got to share that one as well. There's Dash. This is DoorDash. Okay. This is kind of the fundamentalist in me. I don't know if we have any fundamentalists here, but that could be a long-term reversal, and that's a double bottom right there. Okay, if it continues higher, you've got to like technically take out this high or like a last major high to make it a double bottom, but we're getting, like I said, a zigzag reversal off that bottom right there. Now, this is going to be earnings related. I know we sold off a little bit today. In fact, how are the markets doing right now? Okay, well, they're down a little bit, about half, well, not even half of a percent. I'm just looking at the ES as a reference for the S&P 500, which this stock is in because we scanned in this S&P 500. Right there's a little bit of resistance. Oh, maybe we can, if we can start to move or get another what? What did we see on our last trade there? Chipotle? We got a little flag. And a little flag based on possible larger pivot low reversal. Okay. MCD. McDonald's. Oh, geez. Okay. So that's a bigger move. Now, this is, wait, why did I say MCD? MGM. I had MCD written down, but it's actually MGM right there, folks. This is MGM right here. Now, I am seeing a bit of a possible cup and handle over here. I'm also seeing like a shoulder. Geez, look at this. This is, okay, I'm going to do this. This is fascinating. You see this every once in a blue moon. We don't know if it'll unfold or not, but it could be. I'm going to say this blue for big, shoulder, head, shoulder. Can I do one more for you? Shoulder, head, shoulder. Now, if we did take out the bigger move, what does that look like? The trend line is something like right there. I actually drew a somewhat legible diagonal line, which is tough to do on freehand with this mouse. But you guys catch my drift right there. So a break above there could be interesting. And by the way, some traders, and this is me included for sure. If I'm this close to my trend line break, that was a massive move right there. We got to zoom in on this for just a second. But if I'm this close to a trend line break, if let's say I break this, but I'm this close to resistance 38, shoot, what am I giving up? 50 cents? Just wait for it to break resistance, for example, right? I mean, we don't necessarily need to buy right at resistance. That's longer term confirmed resistance. Give it a little bit of time and see if it unfolds, because like I said, those reversals, zigzag reversals, can help to power through a longer term head shoulder bottom. We already saw the smaller one kind of move. But by the way, this was, I think, the biggest percentage mover in the S&P 500 yesterday. Boom, there it is. Another sort of indication of strength. Biggest mover in the S&P 500? Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it was in terms of percentage movers. What do you have over here? We've kept it on here, our old friend. I guess if it's our friend if we're above it. The 200-day moving average, we broke above that as well. Kind of tested a little bit. We've seen a lot of reversals occur from there. All right, you guys are probably catching the drift here. There it is. The Chipotle burritos. My gosh, they actually have an icon for it. That's great, because those are Chipotle burritos, I believe. Yes. All right, thanks, Janelle. With that, let's hit a scan. Let's go over here, and amazing how they could do that, by the way. Chipotle burritos. We're going to scan not the top. We're going to scan the bottom, the downtrends. It's going to be a totally different look, because I don't want to leave you guys hanging. What did we see in the markets out here? We saw a couple of things. When we go back to our market, we talked about this right from the get-go, and we said there could be potential up, could be potential down. And don't you want to see a big zigzag pivot reversal here using those percentages? Yeah, we might. And it could go down. In that case, this scan might be more in line with what we're after. Let's pull it up. Okay, we get only 12 right now in the S&P 500. Oh gosh. Oh no. These two, the packaged foods, gosh, these guys have suffered too, both of them. Suffered in long, extended downward trends. I'm talking Campbell's, GIS, that'd be General Mills. Let's pull them up right now. CPB. Here it is, CPB. Ugh. What have we seen? We've seen some pretty bad downward moves. We're flipping to the downside, folks. Now, in fact, we just barely flipped. Oh no. Here's your weekly. Oh, ouch. Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you what, can't go below zero. I'm just kidding. No, but I mean, it's still down a ways, but look at those trends. And believe me, you're going to be seeing some reversals up here, up top too. It's just showing more signs. And what does that mean? If you just got an 8% reversal again, maybe bearish. And maybe that would just be, for some people, hey, just avoid. Just maybe avoid. I'm going to do GIS, which I think is going to be a very similar chart. Oh gosh, it is. I mean, that's just a massive pullback off 990. That's 90. Well, there we go. That's like half. Right? You just 90 to 45, and now we're getting another one. It tried to get out of these little things, but it just failed right there. Anyways, this is one that tried off the bottom, but you notice the one thing it didn't do? It actually did flip, because it was a strong reversal. But like I said, we've got to wait for other indications too. Folks, we never got above resistance. Price resistance. We never got above this resistance on the 200-day. We just couldn't do it, and it cracked. Could have been a very interesting one to look at, but instead, not only that, it got a reversal to the downside. And I know these reverse sharply. One of the major issues, I'm just going to tell you guys this because I do tend to follow, a few fundamentals. Where's the growth? Where's the growth in earnings? It's been tricky. Look at that last one. Did they miss earnings? They probably might have. I just have to look real quick. Let me just see. Just click right there. They beat, but I think the guidance was poor. Anyways, big reversal off the top with, I mean, it was a gap down. So there we go. Okay, there we go. Let's hit it. Let's do it. Well, that's it. So I got to share them. I got to share these because we might, if the markets start breaking, this could be a scan that you could consider if you're looking for a larger pivot for those indications, right? Pivot reversals with the zigzag. All right, so here it is. So I'll just say right there. And folks, just so you know, I will put these down in the description section down below. If you're watching this video, will be listed under in the YouTube description at the bottom. Just got to click on more, scroll to the bottom, copy those, do the exact same thing. I'll have the same codes in for you. All righty. So you can pull those up. But these guys are weak. Oh my gosh. HPE, huh? I got to see it. Oh, okay. Big move off the bottom. Well, off the top here. So we'll just see what happens on that. All right. Well, it could still be kind of consolidating into a range here. We did just dip below the 200-day moving average, so some considerations nonetheless. All right, so we've got those two scans in. Throw in the scan stocks above the 200. Yes. Oh, that's perfect. You could actually put that. That's a great point, Helen. Throw in that if you'd like. Yeah. Yeah, put that in, and you can add that in too. It's trading above the 200-day moving average. A simple, quick scan. In fact, you guys could add it in to the existing scan. And if you don't know ThinkScript, you can simply just go over here. In fact, I'll just do this right now. And let's just see if we can narrow this down. Love that idea. So let's just do this real quick. So I'm going to go back into my uptrends. And now that I've got the uptrends in place, we've got, so we've got it there. Okay, I do know we have a fair number of folks that haven't done this previously. Let me just show you a quick way, because we did talk at length about the power of the condition wizard. Here it is right here. All I did was just go back into study. So add filter study, hold this guy up over here, delete, and just do it like this. Condition, add the condition in the wizard, price, closing price, not crosses above, but let's just say greater than right now. Greater than the study, and that study is going to be the simple moving average of the 200. Really a huge indicator that's looked at very frequently. I've read that it may be one of the biggest indicators, if not the biggest, that institutions will use. Bullish or bearish, bullish above, bearish below. Folks, all within one bar, save, and click OK. Now you've just simply added this in place. So nice and so easy to do. So let's do this. Let's scan it. We had 25 before. What are we going to get now? There you go. Oh, we cut it down more than in half. So this could be interesting too. Oh, there's your MGM. We were just looking at it. Let's throw in one more just we were looking at. CHRW. So some of the logistics have been strong as of late. CHRW. This is Robinson. H. Robinson. Okay, so like we said, one of the things you could look at is that longer term pullback. It's clearly above the 200. And what does that indicate? Longer term strength, which we've seen. We've been holding way above it. Here was your last flip right there. Right there. Right at that level. Well, it was an earnings gap, actually. But notice it was a bigger pullback, too, wasn't it? We just had one of these here. I don't know what this was all about. I don't like the big bars there. Is that a news event? What on earth is that? Because the reason is, folks, I don't want to see another one. If we were to get in or something and it does this again, I mean, what was it? Was it a news event that caused this? It just looks a little bit big, to say the least, right? Now, it did recover back. It could have been overblown, but that's what we want to look at. And by the way, it was 200 that it bounced off of, but I like that. You can do that as well. You'd have a double span. So one of the things too you could do is kind of maybe have a broader base of companies to look at. One of the things, the way that this is designed, everybody, and I want to add this in because when we're looking at that 200-day, remember that this was within 1 to 3 days that we saw this. So we'd have to change this number because if prices did something like this, they rallied up here, they you know, they crossed their moving average, but it was a ways away from it. In other words, it was past 3 days that we actually hit our 8. Or up here, the moving average is up here. We haven't hit it yet. It would fall off the screen because remember, both of these have to be met. So you'd have to make sure that that's a little bit longer, maybe 5 to 10 days ago, because you want to account for those that were able to break above the 200 as well. In other words, the reversal happened down here, but the moving average maybe happened up here. So just park that in the back of your mind too. And so what you could do is you could just put the moving average on the chart if you wanted to. This is your ultra scan for it. But if you took it off and just scan this, you could be actively watching those that might have fascinating patterns, but maybe they're not quite to the 200-day moving average, right? Kind of like that MKC was. The move happened right here, but it didn't break the moving average until past 3 bars. So it would have fallen off our list, right? Because we're only getting it within that range of the change of the pivot bottom there. Alrighty? Okay. Now, what I want to do is I want to go back into, I want to just, in the last just a few minutes we have left here, I want to do this too, because I want to just shift. I think we're good on this. I think we got it in place. But key point, folks, is we want to just look and see, is it a reversal? Is it showing us that strength maybe in a bigger context? Is the trend already up? Is there a price pattern? What about the 200-day moving average? These are perfect considerations to look at. All right, now I'm going to pull up my S&P 500, and guess what I've got in there? An indicator that, yes, we built. We built that. That's the TTM squeeze. Ooh, before I do that, folks, yeah, if you're getting use out of these discussions with ThinkScript, smash that like button. It just lets us know that this content's useful, it's valid for you. And let's see. Yeah. Oh, yeah, be sure and follow us on our Trader Talks channel if you're not already. In fact, I'll just pull it up right here. Here is actually a list of some of the ThinkScript classes. We taught this one last week, which was, yeah, just 3 simple scans. And that was just, broadly speaking, everybody can build those in the Condition Wizard. That was specifically for momentum. It wasn't using a large sort of a reversal off the bottom, but other indications like price pattern breaks, right? We talked about that. That was like, if you're breaking above a 20-day high or something. But then again, sometimes, they're up here. It might not necessarily be a reversal bottom, which is what we discussed today. What we're trying to find is a reversal bottom. All right, and we did some others in there, but you can find that here. I'll just throw that list in here for you. But this is just the playlist for this class. If any of those are of use for you, and shoot, Kevin just posted it. Thanks, Kev. And I'm going to pop back here. Really appreciate that. By the way, you can find some great stuff in here from Mr. Kevin Horner himself, specifically like, gosh, you got a lot of goodies in here. But yeah, in fact, here are all the coaches. But remember those morning classes I told you about that Kevin teaches. But yeah, love to have you guys follow us here as well on Trader Talks, because like all the other coaches say, it is free, right? So there's the Trader Talks channel right there that you can go to. In fact, I'll just click on the playlist for you because you can get into the playlist. In fact, you can search up any classes that might have been here as well. But encourage you, if you're not already, give us a follow. Love to have you on board. All right. Well, with that, and just in the last couple of minutes, let me just show you this, because remember that we mentioned earlier that the market had been in a sideways channel. Hard to forget, we've been in there for a little while, but using this TTM squeeze, we can go ahead and take a look at some of the companies that have been here for a while. Do you see it here? This is in a TTM squeeze as well. TTM squeeze right there. Let's pull it back. So this is just kind of like really relevant to current market conditions as well. There you go. See, we're in the squeeze, and this just counts the number of bars back. I'm going to go ahead and just share this if you guys haven't seen it already, but I talk about it in more detail. There we go. There's the share. Again, ThinkScripts aren't guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy, but as long as the data that's coming through is good and we have good data, my experience, the platform, then of course, just mathematically should, the think scripts are designed to just work with the data. So anyways, we've got that for you. Look at some of these others in here. This could be really interesting to take a look at. And you'll find this class within this section right here, the playlist. As you come in, you could find it. This class, if you wanted to, is here, as well as many others. All right, everybody, smash that like button if you found it helpful, informative. It was good to be with you all today. We finally did it. We finally got the zigzag indicator working, which with whatever kind of a time frame we wanted to get on it. Sorry, right here. Excuse me. A look back period. We talked about that. If I could just pull this up and get it going. That's our zigzag, but on our scan, we can come over here and just make sure that on that scan, we can adjust the reversal amounts, but that's the default, often known as maybe a key reversal. That's 8%. There's your look back period as well, giving it a little bit of time just in case the pattern has developed and broken above some highs or whatever the case might be. In other words, it doesn't have to be today. It could have been 3, 5, or whatever days ago. So that could help you with identifying those longer term reversals, folks. On that, really appreciate it. Thanks, Kev, for all your help in the chat as always. And all right, great. Yeah, good to see you all. Hey, you guys have a great rest of the day and tap into these little homework assignment. Go through those 25 that came up on that list, at least those 25, and just see what you're finding in terms of other patterns and trends that might tie into it. All right, everybody, take care. Have a great rest of the day.